Welcome to the fourth episode of this Budget Watch series. Today we are going to talk about debts. Tunaongea juu ya madeni. So in today's episode we will look at how much does the government pay every quarter, and in this case we are looking at the quarter between 1st of July 2017 and the 30th of September 2017. That is the first quarter of the year 2017-2018. We will look at how the government is already paying their debts. You know, when you owe someone money, you pay them sometimes with interest if you are a Christian, because Muslims do not take interests. So we will see how much do we pay our bilateral partners. And bilateral partners are those countries which have given us money as loans. How much does our government of Kenya pay them? How much do they pay in terms of principal? Number two, how much do we pay in terms of interest? You will be surprised to discover that we pay more interest than the principal, because the principal is the original amount which you borrowed. As you are repaying the interest, you are also supposed to repay the principal. But here in Kenya, we pay more, we pay interest, but we pay less of the principal. So these loans will end up being with us for many, many years. So let us go direct to the summary of how our government has been servicing their public debt. Let's go direct into it. So if you look at this, you will see that for the period under review, the total bilateral loans servicing, we paid out 5.3 billion as a principal. This is the original amount which was borrowed. Out of the total that we owed bilateral partners, we paid them 5.3 billion. Then we paid as interest 12.6 billion shillings. So if you look at these two, we are paying more in terms of interests. This is the interest generated from the loans we borrowed, which is the principal. So we pay more as interests as we hold the money, which is probably being used for development functions. So if you had principal plus interest, the total amount of debt servicing that we have done between July and September of 2017-18 is 17.9 billion. It's a huge amount. It is nearly the same amount which was transferred to counties during the same period, because the counties received 20 billion. So we nearly gave out the same amount as what was sent to our creditors or bilateral partners. So now I would take you direct into what went to which country, and we will look at the top 5 countries whom gave us money and as a loan, and we are supposed to pay them. I will show you how much they gave us. No, I will look at what we paid to them as principal, because we looked at the amounts in the previous episodes. So China is, this column as the name of the country. This is the principal. This is the interest we paid to them, and this is the total. The total is made up of the principal plus interest. You will get the total. So how much are we paying out to our bilateral partners? If I remember well, China is the leading bilateral partner. China gives us plenty of loans. During the period under review, China had given us 4.7 billion. Out of that 4.7 billion, we gave them, and remember it is 4.7 billion US dollars. But the money has not matured, so we cannot pay all the principal. But what we gave them in terms of principal repayment was 2 billion. All these figures are in millions. All figures are in millions. So we gave them 2 billion as repayment of the principal, which was the total was 4.7 billion US dollars. But we paid them 2 billion Kenyan shillings, which is about 2 million US dollars. But we paid more in terms of interests. We paid 10 billion in the form of interests. This is the amount we paid in interests. China, we paid to China a total of 12.7 billion Kenyan shillings during the period under review from 1st of July to 30th of September 2017. That is recently. Then for Japan, you remember from our previous episode, Japan, we borrowed from Japan an amount of 879.2 million US dollars. That is plenty of money. But how did we pay them for the first quarter of 2017-2018? For this quarter, we paid them 1.1 billion in the name of principal. We paid them 167 million Kenyan shillings in the name of interests. And hence, we paid them a total of 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings went to Japan. France, as a bilateral partner, we had borrowed 687.89 million from France. But for the first quarter, we paid them 1.1 billion Kenyan shillings. We paid them 732.75 million Kenyan shillings as interest. Then we paid them a total of 1.8 billion Kenyan shillings in the name of interest and principal. Finally, there is German as number 4. We borrowed 314.2 million US dollars from German, but we did not pay any principal. Probably in the first quarter, the principal had not matured, so we only paid interest for the case of German, which is 110.5 million Kenyan shillings. So that's the total amount of money we paid. Finally, we have Belgium. Belgium is a country in Europe, I guess Eastern Europe. We paid them 78.9 million Kenyan shillings as principal, and 34.31 million Kenyan shillings as interest. So a total of 113.28 million Kenyan shillings was paid to service the loan which we received from our bilateral partner, Belgium. Up to that point, I guess you are more educated, you know more on how our country is borrowing from our bilateral partners and how we are servicing those loans. These are the top 5. There are other countries where we have borrowed from, such as Austria. We have borrowed from Korea. I don't know whether it is North or South, but I guess it is South Korea. We have borrowed from United Kingdom. We have borrowed from India. We have borrowed from Kuwait. Kuwait is a country in Asia which produces a lot of oil. Then we have also borrowed from United States. When I was doing my analysis, I could not believe that United States is not one of the top 5 countries whom we owe money, from whom we have borrowed money. Actually, US is insignificant in terms of the money they lend to Kenya when you look at the top 5, because US we had borrowed just a small amount of 30 million US dollars, which is very small compared to China, where we borrowed 4.7 billion US dollars. So United States, as much as it is a superpower, China is of much good to Kenya than the United States. At times I even wonder why then they are making a lot of noise whenever there is a problem in Kenya. But they should make, because it is their right under the international law. Anyway, there are other countries like Denmark, Finland, and others which cannot be mentioned, which were lumped together by the National Treasury. So up to that point, I'm very sure now you are far ahead of those who are not watching this YouTube video from Kerosi TV. Thank you for tuning in. Until we see you in episode 5 of this series, of the Budget Watch series. Thank you very much.